everyone, and welcome to the Women's Cave. This is Jade, yes, just by herself, because Winona had to step out, which means you're not going to be bored with all the narcissist things that has to be said. So let's see. I guess that is my banter, right? I don't know. Do you want to diss on Winona? Because I have some good dirt on her. Anybody? Okay, I guess nobody wants to dish on Winona. All right, so then we wrote literary life guides with pop poetry, and I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons, and I thought being grown up was easy if only I were me, a memoir in verse, Widow's web series, and Informed Coffee. That it is. All of those are available where you get your audiobooks, and coming soon. And I thought I did my journey alone. Out everything your ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com. But y'all aren't here to listen to me go on and on. You're here to hear from my wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Colleen Coble. I write romantic mysteries. I jokingly say I kill people for a living, but some people have taken that wrong. But one of the funniest stories I have about that kind of thing, I had this pharmacist that used to help me with things, and I was looking for a drug that would render someone unable to fight if they got thrown into the water. And so she was telling me what that was. And about that time, another pharmacist came running around the racks with her eyes great big, like, what are you doing? And I said, no, I'm a writer. Truly, that's all it is. It's just for a story. I'm still not sure she believed me, but and some other things people don't know about me necessarily are before I was a writer, I was a color consultant. So I take one look at somebody and I know whether or not they have the right color clothes on. You girls are good, just so you know.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much. And a color consultant. Okay, I have a question. So
yeah,
how
she hasn't got to number 3
Oh,
yet.
you haven't got to number 3. I'm holding your question.
You're
number 3 is?
Oh, and number 3 is what I am such a coffee nerd that I got through up in Chicago, I got through the international terminal and realized they had no coffee there, none. I had to go back through to the other side, get a cup of coffee, drink it because they wouldn't let me through before I got on a 30-hour flight to Cambodia. But there was no way I was going on that flight without coffee.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand. That has to.
And I'm allergic to coffee, and I know that has
to happen. It had to happen. Okay, so let's talk about this color consultant and how much does it drive your publishers insane? Because you look at your book cover and you're like, no, those books are like color.
It's more that I drive my friends insane because, for example, somebody who's a winter who looks best in bright clothes. You guys are winters. I'm a winter. If you bleach your hair blonde, it doesn't look good with your skin. And so many people like to color their hair. And I'm always happen to bite my tongue. Now your color is good, Jade. That those purple or blue tips there looks good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I
I'm greatly approving of both of you. You look good.
Thank you. I had to learn that navy was my color because I didn't think so before. And then everyone kept complimenting me every time I put on navy. So I said, well, it must be.
There you go. Navy's your color. It's my color too.
I see it. I was looking at your shirt going, I want that.
This is what is hilarious to me right now is because Jade is a stylist.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
it's a secret. Well, don't stop telling it.
And then you're a color consultant. So it's like, well, this should be an interesting conversation for the two of them. You see, I haven't even bothered to ask a question. That is your old area.
Okay, so
I got dressed in 4 different color greens and I was like, well, it matches. It's green, right?
Oh my goodness. And I was just like, never leave your house like that again, ever, never. So
there you go.
So color,
I've had to bite that phrase back myself many times.
You know, when you're a best friend, you can say never, like never do it, never. So there is another question I have. So when you are writing your characters, does that mean that you take a longer time thinking about what they're wearing?
Absolutely, I do. And here's a funny story. I have a critique partner, and we always read each other's books. And she was coming, and we brainstorm. So she was coming up with a new character, and this new character, she had her have auburn hair and blue eyes. And I said, no. If you have true auburn hair, you're going to have your eye is going to be more with green and brown and gold and hazel in it. If it's a true blue eye and you want a redhead, you need to go with somebody who's strawberry blonde. You see that once in a while. So
It's gorgeous too.
she changed the way her character looked to make sure it matched. So
That's hysterical. That is hysterical. So let's talk a little bit about your bodies of work, Winona.
Oh, am I asking questions now?
Yes.
We're done with the color.
Yes, we're not,
Okay.
but we are.
Yeah, because color ain't my jam. So how you have sold 4 million books?
yep.
How? When did you get
Pushing
started?
5 now. So yeah,
5 million,
getting there almost.
almost at 5.
Well, how did you do this?
A lot of books. I've written, I think the count's somewhere around 77 or so now. I'm somewhere around in there. And I've been blessed. That's all I can say. When I grew up a farm girl in the cornfields of Indiana, and my dream was to just have one book in one library somewhere. That was as big as I could dream at that time, but God had other plans. and opened the doors for some, for a great publisher. Thomas Nelson, HarperCollins Christian Publishing has just been phenomenal. They have supported me in many, many ways, and I've been there 20 years this summer. So it's been a lot of hard work by my publisher, a lot of hard work by me. It's been readers who've liked my books and told other readers, because it's always word of mouth. No matter what we do elsewhere, you girls know, no matter what we do elsewhere, social media, ads, whatever we happen to do, it all comes down to readers telling readers. That's where it's at.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like it's almost the only thing that
It's not the
really-
Oh, you got it. Well, it's just the only thing that works, Winona. Just readers telling readers.
Yeah.
I don't know the only. Well, I think that the ads help readers want to pick it up, but then you're gonna ask another have you read this book? Is this something good?
because it is.
And I have bought a few books myself off of Facebook ads, that sounds intriguing. And so, I've ended up going and buying them, but the majority of the time, it's those readers.
Now I'm gonna have to ask, any poetry books?
Oh,
What's
that's
that?
hilarious.
Any
You know
poetry
there
books?
isn't one.
Did you buy any poetry book off of the
Poetry books. No, I don't even think I've ever seen a poetry ad, Jade.
Because we are pop poets, so I had to ask. Maybe about ads would work.
I'll have to watch for those.
Okay. So, what is your writing process?
I am a seat of the pants writer, which usually astonishes people because my books are pretty complex, and I got a murder mystery going on. But what I do is I lay down several rabbit trails, and then I just see where the story takes me. I have plotted books, but I found that it takes all the fun out of it for me, because if I know who did it and what's going to happen, why write the story? I want to be excited about it all the way through and be part of the discovery as I go. So I'm usually butt in chair, writing away in my office. I'm actually in there now in my little recliner with my laptop, and I just put the story down. And I like to write it quickly, because you can't do anything with nothing. But if you've got something on the page, you can kind of flip it around, change things, add scenes, massage it totally, change it up. And so that's what I like to do. So I usually actually do the writing process in about somewhere between 6 to 10 weeks, right in there. The actual process, but then there's much editing and yeah. So I can see the nods. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
When you get it back and then someone has, oh no, this whole thing, it has to be done.
Oh, that happens. I have really good editors, and I was introduced to editing really well by my first editor at Thomas Nelson, Amy McConnell. She's just a phenomenal, legendary editor, and her edits would be about 16 pages or so. So, I learned early, but I also learned early that the editing process always makes a book better.
Oh, it does.
And the great thing is that I can always accept or reject the changes, but I've learned that the editors usually see what I don't. And so best to accept them and just get on with it.
It's hard to have a different viewpoint when it's all coming from your head. It's like, this
Yeah.
story is wonderful. And then
And
you're
then
like,
it's not.
no, it's not. I think that's probably why writers they're probably harder on their work, because after a while they can go back and look at it and be like, yeah, there's stuff that really needed
that could be changed.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the day that you found out you were going to get published and how you got your literary agent.
Okay, well, I had I got my start. I always wanted to write from a little time I was a little girl, but I got married at 19, had our first baby at 21, and just kind of pushed my dreams to the side. But then I had a younger brother. His name was Randy, and he was a year younger than me. And he was welding in a grain bin for a farmer friend. And there was a storm blowing up, and it was still down the road a ways. And the farmer yelled, "Randy, get out of there." He was in a metal building welding. And when Randy didn't answer, he went in, and the lightning had struck down the lines and had come through the lines and electrocuted him. And he was instantly killed. And it was a wake-up call for me that if I was ever going to follow my dream, when. And so as part of the grieving process, I went to Wyoming, where Randy had lived with his family for about 3 years, and I hadn't gotten out there during that time. And I just wanted to see this place that he loved so much. And standing on the parade ground at Fort Laramie, that first idea just kind of dropped into my head. I went home and wrote it. I was sure there was going to be a bidding war, girls, but of course this was not the case. So it took 6 more years to sell that puppy. And the day that I found out Barbara was going to buy that, I screamed so loudly the cat hid under the bed and wouldn't come out for hours. True. I called my pastor, and his answering machine picked up, and I was babbling and crying so hard he thought someone had died and he didn't know who to call back. Again, totally true story. So it was exciting beginning there. And then I wrote 18 romances for Barbara, but my dream was always to kill people. I don't know why. This would get stuck in your head. I grew up on Nancy Drew, and I loved murder mysteries, and I wanted to write one. And so I found this great New York agent. What I did is I asked every editor that I knew who they liked, who they thought was a good agent. And my agent's name, Karen Solom, kept coming up. And so I sent her a proposal, and much to my shock, she took me on. And then that first proposal that went to Thomas Nelson, Without a Trace, was kicked to the curb for a solid year before she would even send it out, before Karen would say, it was okay to send out. She kept saying, more layers. And I'm thinking, what are layers? I don't know. I've got to learn this. So I did learn it. And then Thomas Nelson bought that 20 years ago right now. And it came out in 2003. And we're just kind of coming full circle with my new series that's coming out, because the Rock Harbor series, the first book in that was Without a Trace, that Thomas Nelson bought. And I'm coming out with a new series set back up in Rock Harbor called the Annie Peterson series. So it's just like, full circle and going right back to that. And readers have loved that series so much. It was supposed to be 3 books, but it ended up being 8. And now here we are, 3 more coming out. So.
Well, that is super exciting.
I love when you have to make a series longer.
I love a series, though. I'm a sucker for a series. I think that's why we have the I Thor series and the Misfit Guys. A sucker for a series. Love it.
Well, good.
What do how do you get support and writing, and where do you find your critique groups? Is there a writers association, or did you just create your own critique groups?
The best place to find a critique partner, I'm actually a bigger fan of like a one-on-one with 1 or 2 other people that really understand what you write, rather than a big critique group that is just critiquing the word you use rather than an overall story. So for me, I've always found the best place to find that is at a writers' conference. And you make connections, and you just click with other people. I can tell you girls click very well together. And I met my first couple of critique partners at a writers' conference, and we've been together now for nearly a quarter of a century. So 25 years is coming right up. And It's Denise Hunter, who writes romance. And of course, I have romance in my stories too, but I got to have the murder in there as well. But she knows what needs to go in my stories. And so if I'm missing an element, she'll say, "Hey, what about this? Is there do you have a dog in there? Do you have an animal in there? Do you, how about a kid?" Something, one of your normal elements. And with her, she has a lot of women's fiction elements in her romances. And if they're not layered enough with that, I'll notice and I'll say, "Hey, Denise, we got something missing here." And
okay, so I have two questions. Yeah. One, before you go, what is layering? And then two, where can people find out more about you?
Okay, layering a story is when you have enough elements that are going to draw the reader into it, and it's not too simplistic. So I usually go by what I call my rule of three. And so I usually have a personal issue that she's dealing with. Maybe her parents are getting divorced. Maybe she's in a custody battle. Maybe she's lost someone she loves, or something like that. And then I usually have a professional problem. Her job, something is going on with her job, and her job, she's having to prove herself, or there's some kind of issue happening there. And then I've got my love interest going on. So that's the rule of three that I use in my stories.
Okay, so great. Now audience knows, but you didn't know at the beginning. So I'm excited. And also, where can people find out more about you? Like your website, maybe follow you on social media?
Yep.
And by the way,
my website is ColleenCoble.com. That's ColleenCoble.com. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter, though I'm much more active on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I don't do much with it. But yeah, but Colleen Coble Books on Facebook. And I love interacting with readers.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by the Women's Cave. Really appreciate it.
And thank you for inviting me. It was way fun.
Thank you. You're more than welcome. I guess I'll go ahead and wrap this up. You can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the middle of the page, see the charities that we proudly support. Maybe you can support them also. We thank you in advance for that. And just remember, y'all, wisdom is all around you. If
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, thanks for listening.